Stack the Deck with the House of Cards podcast. The show where we break down the art of creative real estate investing. Join us as we dive into the world of real estate with insider tips and tricks for making your investments go further. From buying with no money down to flipping properties for profit, we've got you covered. Plus, stay tuned for expert guest speakers who will share their knowledge and experience in this ever-changing market. So grab a seat and get ready to learn the secrets to success in real estate investing. And now, from Alaska to New York, your hosts, Chris James and Jesse Stanton.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here, one and all. If you guys don't know me, my name is Jesse Stanton, and sitting next to me is my lovely co-host,
Chris James.
Christopher Earl. He doesn't know this. I think I've tried telling a couple people this just to kind of get the word out. We're making a shift in our business. We're doing kind of a lot of different things, and so consequently, Chris is also taking on a different avatar himself, but not probably in the avatar that you are thinking. He is no longer going by Chris, and actually, we probably should have changed your name on screen, Chris. His full name is Christopher, but he goes by Topher now, the last part of his first name. So, Topher Earl. Thank you for being here, bro. You look fantastic today, by the way. I know you don't feel good. I'm really sorry.
No, I appreciate it, man. And I don't think that's not a good name.
I think it's fantastic. I think it stands out. You know, I'm going to be honest. You don't look like a Topher Earl. You look like a Chris James. But I think with enough time, we could probably change that.
I agree. Happy to hear you, man. Good morning, man. How's your morning going, by the way, over there?
Oh, my gosh. Dude, it's going fantastic, man. It's going fantastic. This week has just gone by like that. You know, I woke up this morning and realized that dude, I didn't even realize that we had closed on properties this week. I was like, oh my gosh, we picked up properties, and I just, it occurred to me this morning, man. So yeah, we need, but yeah, this is a good week. It's been a great day. It's been a great morning. It's Saturday, dude, and the grind is real today. I woke up early again, like I usually do. You know, I was watching a video. It was like, I think it was like Andy Frisella, or it was Ed Milet, or Chris Crone, maybe somebody like that. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think maybe it was Chris Crone, and he was talking about sleeping in. He said he usually sleeps about 4 to 5 hours a day, and then he tries to get in 6 hours on Saturday, and then he tries to get in 8 hours on Sunday. I tried that last Sunday, and I just, like, my mind could not, it would not go to sleep, man. It was just so excited, man. I love that. I love about, you know, that because I think it just speaks volumes to who you and I are and what we're doing. And I literally feel like every day I only sleep maybe around 5 hours on average, but it's not because that's just what I set my alarm to. Like, my body won't let me. I almost feel like I have a field trip, like every single day, man, that I get to wake up. I almost feel like I gotta, you know, I'm going to go sit on the bus. I'm going to put all my music on. Yeah, man. The field trips when I was a little kid, man, was a good time for more ways than one, dude. It was always like a chance to get closer to the girl that you were dating. You know, you always take the relationship a step further when you guys got to go on a field trip. And my mom didn't allow me to listen to like Kiss and AC/DC and Metallica and Linkin Park, and so it was always an opportunity for me to get my Slim Shady in and all the good tunes in. So. Yeah, I feel very fortunate, you know, to have you as my business partner, bro, and to be doing the things that we're doing. And I literally feel like I get to wake up and go on a field trip every day. So
I love that.
I got my M&M in this morning. By the
way. That's phenomenal. And so those who don't know, Jesse, actually, he's in Alaska. So he's 4 hours behind the East Coast. And he has all this energy. All this energy. And this is normal. You would think he's always like, I got energy drinks. No, this is him day and night. No matter.
It's in the water, bro. It's in the water.
Alaskan water. Got it.
Dude, Angel loved it, dude. Topher Earl. See, I think it could be something. Like if me and you were going to go into battle together, like if there was going to be a Top Gun 3 starring Jesse and Chris, it would say like Maverick and Topher Earl. Or you know what? Topher Earl would be the equivalent of Maverick. It'd be Topher Earl and Goose. And I would be your Goose. That would be the new Maverick. Everyone's going to start using the term Maverick, as the new standard. They're going to start using Topher Earl as the new Maverick. So, but anyway, I digress, man. How are you doing? I know you kind of been under the weather a little bit. Are you feeling any better today?
I feel like death, but I'm okay. I'm here.
Gosh dang it, dude! I'm sorry, bro.
It's so funny because I had my first meeting this morning a few hours ago. And the show must go on, right? The show just must go on, and I think I may have COVID. I don't want to jinx it or anything like that. Just some of the symptoms, the chills, and all that good stuff.
Oh man, well we're not going to be making out anymore. Stay away from me, bro.
I was just a little bit nervous because, of course, when you got little ones, you don't want them to catch it. They got to go to school and that good stuff. But more so, I had, I think, Miss Angel Miller and Pam White trying to force me to go to the store to get some, remedies and all that good stuff in my system. So I appreciate it.
Well, dude, I appreciate you being here. I think it obviously it speaks volumes to who you are, the things that you're trying to accomplish, and our topic for today, actually, as a matter of fact. So, thank you, James. What's going on, dude? Thank you for being here. Chris is out. Topher is in.
I love it.
Listening on my 3-hour drive, dude. This is awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Sincerely, we know that you guys could be doing other stuff, and we're kind of changing our platform a little bit, and Chris and I were having a conversation about this. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And when it comes to growing our podcast and the things that Chris and I are involved with, if you guys have been following us for any amount of time, we've got our hands in a lot of different things that we're doing, and we're growing ourselves, our business. We're bringing more people in, kind of doing all the fun things. And what I noticed with podcasts, bro, is the majority of podcasts that you listen to, whether they're informational, they're motivational, whatever it is, self-development, even real estate, like there isn't necessarily ever like at least not that I've seen. And I try to listen to a bunch of stuff. Obviously, as you know, I read a bunch of books as well. But there aren't a lot of platforms out there that at the end of the episode or somewhere in the episode, every single episode, there's take this action step and take these steps as it applies to you. They speak in like general terms and kind of trying to portray an idea, but there isn't like hey, this is what I'm doing and this is the action step for it. Take these action steps when you leave today for this week and do them as they apply to you. So that's one of the things that we want to start doing, guys, is we want to start giving you guys some more action steps. And so anytime you guys listen to this podcast, please make sure that you guys have a pen and paper present or a phone or somewhere where you guys can actually take some notes and be intentional. As you guys can see today, we're talking about 10xing your freaking real estate business. And it comes down to, intentionality. Bradley Blackburn. Jesse is Goose. Love it. Thank you, bro. I'm always Goose to Chris's Maverick, man. Yeah. Andre says, thanks for showing up, Chris. Ken says, Team Topher. Freaking love that. I'm pro Team Topher. As you guys know, I don't have any tattoos, but maybe that'll be my first. I'm gonna get Team Topher right on my left ass cheek. And that's a compliment. How do I invite people here? I don't see a tab to do so. That's a good question, Chris. I guess where you at? I'm not sure which Facebook group you're watching in, but you can tag people. Chris and I have made a couple different posts. That's probably where you first saw you first got a notification about this, is probably in one of our Facebook groups. So if you guys are watching it and you feel like people would benefit from being here, please, guys, help us grow this group. We do this for free. As you guys can see, we're kind of changing the platform a little bit in the order of operations, things we're going to do, the amount of value that we want to give you guys. We want to get into the nitty gritty, give you guys some very, very specifics on what you guys can do and the actions that you guys can take each and every week to go ahead and 10x your guys' business and continue growing it and doing the things you're wanting to do. So thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. Chris, I've got a couple announcements that I want to make, but is there anything else that you would like to add before I dive into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, guys, Facebook users, please grant StreamYard access to make your name visible so we know who we're talking to. We'd like to know how we can be a resource and how we connect the right dots. And more so, being a Facebook user, we don't know who we're talking to. But also, guys, don't forget to subscribe. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google. I think it's called Google Play, and many more. So more so, whatever your favorite listening stream is, please go listen and subscribe. And guys, I know Jesse said, take out a pen and paper. Please, if you're driving, don't do that. Please don't especially when you're driving. Then I don't want to be a
Hopefully you got a goose. Hopefully you got somebody sitting your Rio behind you, man, who can sit there and take notes for you.
But no, for most part, I appreciate everyone being here. Definitely supporting everything we do. And again, this is free. We want to make sure we're providing value to you guys, and in any way, shape, or form. We're just here to be a resource. So if you guys figure out more so a topic that you want us to discuss, let us know. We'll definitely love to discuss that, go into detail. And furthermore, if you're going through it like with the property, I know we had a consult this morning at around 9 a.m. A young lady, I'm not going to mention her name, but this kind of leads into what our topic is today, but more so, you just never know what people are going through. You really never know what they're going through. This individual lost her husband, and she's in a financial situation where she's got to work a little bit more than she used to, and she wants real estate to be more so the scapegoat. So essentially, what we're doing, we're going to help her. We're going to help her. She's working on a couple of leads right now, and our team on the back end is going to try to get her, try to see how we can help her in the back. Well, basically get it to the finish line. So essentially, because let's be honest, right? No one prepares or plans the perfect, I want to say, funeral or death. And it was more so all of a sudden, and she's in a tough situation. She's really in a tough situation, but you would never know that speaking with her. You would never know that. She's always smiling. She's always outgoing. She's always outspoken. She's an amazing spirit. And you just, when she shared that information with us today, it's just the true testament of how people, you can't really judge a book by a cover. You can't. So more or less, back to you, Jesse.
Well, that goes for everybody though too. You see, because I think when a lot of people are comparing, and comparison is the thief of joy. And it's a really easy trap to get put into, especially with Facebook and social media. Now, every time you open up your phone, you see somebody else is doing this. You see somebody else made a wholesale feed, for 40 grand or 80 grand or 10 grand or 5 grand. And it's like, dude, like, what am I doing wrong? How come I'm not getting that? And, you see people at all these different levels, but at the same time, like you said, Chris, it's applicable to everybody. You literally never know what people are going through. When you get on Facebook or something, you see somebody doing something or getting paid or taking down properties or, doing whatever. It's easy to start seeing, to look at that and judge that person and say, man, they have it so easy. They have no idea what I'm going through. I had this going on. I wasn't able to pay my rent this week. I've got blah, 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 blah. But you have no idea what they are going through. I mean, I know there's so many times you and I pop on this podcast, for example, and the same thing, dude. Like, we've both got personal things that are going on, and you would never know it, and nobody would ever know it. So, yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. It really kind of helps just put things into perspective.
Absolutely.
It's just a great reminder. Thank you guys for being here again. I saw somebody said they were on their way to their first sub 2 meetup, which is super dope. Sean said that. Driving to my first sub 2 meetup.
Amazing.
Bro, good for you. Hey, be intentional with that. Be intentional with that meeting, Sean. If I can give you some advice real quick while you're driving to your first sub 2 meetup, go out there, take some time before you go in there and make like jot down a list in your phone. Take 5 minutes, pull into wherever you're meeting, and pull open your phone, pull open your notes tab, and sit there. Give yourself 5 minutes. Put a 5-minute timer on there before you walk in there, and think about, what do I need in my freaking business right now? What is it that I need to get it to the next level? Is it money? Is it building out a team? Is it somebody help come in and dispo my properties? Is it understanding paperwork? I don't know how long you've been in the game or what your level is or what it is you're needing, but I would encourage you, bro. Be very, very intentional. The last thing I want you, especially if this is your first sub 2 meetup, I know for a lot of people going to meetups, it's kind of like this thing where everybody is, it's great and it's grand and everybody's shaking hands and kissing babies and doing all these things, man. But I want you to walk out of there with being at least 1% better than you were the day before. And It's great to go in there and talk. Oh, he's been in here for 1 month. Okay, cool. So even better, dude. Take some time. Most people are not going to do this. Everyone's going to pull in. They're going to get in the car, and everyone's going to be like, hey, it's great to meet you. I'm in sub 2. Where are you at? What have you been doing? Blah, blah, blah. This is what I'm doing. And then most people kind of shake hands, and it's like, hey, this is what I'm doing. If I can help you, let me know. And then that's it. There's no intention. There's no follow-up. But you feel good walking out of there because you're like, man, I talked to everybody. But there was no intentionality behind that conversation, let alone a plan of action to go ahead and follow up with that. So make sure that you are being freaking intentional, bro. Go in there again, pull in, take 5 minutes, and put some very, very methodical thought into what you need in your business. And it's almost like putting together a Walmart grocery list. And this is actually something that Chris and I are talking about later. We've got a meeting, or not a meeting. We got a Zoom that we do within the Sub 2 community every single Saturday from, is it 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time, called Friends with Benefits. And this is really what we're talking about, is how to network with intentionality. And so take some time, bro. Before you go in there, make a list, almost like a Walmart list. This is what I need. And go and be intentional with those people. Go find those things that you need so you can actually walk out of there. Even if there's 100 people there, and even if you only talk to 10 people there, at least you're walking out of there with action steps that are going to propel you to be better next week. That's what you want. So anyway, if anybody else is on their way to a networking meeting as well, make sure it's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. Be very, very methodical and intentional with what it is you guys are trying to do. Absolutely. Walk out with relationships. So real quick, we got a couple announcements. For those of you guys who've been following, or if you don't know, myself and a couple other amazing Sub 2 students have been doing a series every single week called Network to Net Worth. We have a Facebook page. If you guys are not in there, please go join it. We are putting together a series. There's no recordings. You can see the first recording for free. That's it. So if you guys want to see and watch the first recording, hit me up. I'd be more than happy to send you the link. But you have to attend live if you want to get this information. And basically what it is, we're showing people how to build an entire freaking business just from leveraging those relationships. Nothing else. You're not calling sellers. You're not dispoing properties. You're not filling out paperwork. You're not doing anything other than just networking with people and getting paid because you know people. What a concept, huh? How awesome is that? So if that's something you guys want to be part of, please go join our Facebook group. We have those meetings there's Zoom meetings every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Every single Tuesday. They've been really, really awesome. Also, there is a young lady that Chris and I have had the pleasure of getting to know over the last week. One of our wins for this week for sure. Her name is Mel Palmer. Some of you guys on Sub 2 may have heard of her. She is an amazing individual. She's got a service based business right now where she is helping real estate professionals establish credibility and vet people for if you need to borrow money or if you're somebody who wants to lend money, vetting borrowers at the same time. So there's when it comes to private money and hard money, there's a big difference. And one of those big differences, and many differences, but one of the big differences is obviously relationship. And so just like you would vet a tenant going into your business, for some reason, there's not a lot of people when it comes to lending money and wanting to borrow money and all these kind of things. There isn't a big vetting process that goes into that. And so that's the problem that Mel is solving. And she's doing some really, really amazing things. So Mel, thank you for doing this. Thank you for the opportunity that we've had to connect with you and to learn from and with you. If anybody is wanting to learn more about how they can leverage those resources and that service that Mel is providing, please let us know. We'd be more than happy, willing, and able to connect you guys to her. Secondly, if you guys, lastly, we've got if you guys are wanting to increase your self-development, your mindset, all that kind of stuff, go join our Growth Co Facebook group. It is absolutely amazing. We've got a bunch of really, really neat stuff going on in there. I think that's about it for announcements. Is there anything that I missed, Chris, or anything you'd like to add before we jump in?
No, the last thing, just more so, guys, if you're looking for a TC to help you get your paperwork to the finish line, whether that's just reviewing the paperwork and or facilitating, I have an amazing team that can do that for you. We can hop on a Zoom, go over the nitty gritty, tell you the do's, the don'ts, and just more so what that looks like moving forward. We work in all 50 states, have successfully closed in 41 states. We're looking to hit the last 9, guys. You got to help us do that.
And we've got Alaska down already. So Alaska's not one of the last that has to be done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So feel free to reach out anytime. We're more than happy to help you guys get your deal to the finish line. We just want to see everyone be successful. That's all.
Absolutely. And this applies both, by the way, guys, if you guys, because I know in our connector series, you guys have been asking a lot about how do I secure myself with paperwork? How do I do this? How do I do that? And making sure that I'm, legally protected, from by connecting people with these other resources and things like that. Dude, Chris can help you guys with that. So who, not how. You guys want to learn to scale your business? You want to go really fast? It's who, not how. So, thank you, brother. Thank you. Where should they just shoot you a DM, Chris, if they want to connect with you more on working with you to handle the paperwork side of stuff? I know you guys set up servicing companies in 2, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do set up servicing companies in 49 states. We do not set up servicings in California. However, we can source that out for you to help you actually, for you personally, to set that up. But more so, we personally on the back end set up servicing in the 49 states, along with we help stop foreclosures, auctions, and all that great stuff that comes with the time-consuming stuff that a lot of people don't want to do. But if you want to reach out, just definitely you can shoot me a DM, TC, and or specifically just reach out to me by email, info@c3-tc.com, and that's info@ T as in Tom, C as in Charlie, -tc.com.
All right. Awesome. Sean asked, what about a bookkeeper?
I have, we have an amazing bookkeeper.
We do. Literally unparalleled.
Her name is Gita. I'm not going to pronounce her last name because I can't. It's very long, but Sean, I'll definitely send you her link and her cell phone number and get you guys together. It just, her name is so long.
You guys need help with a bookkeeper? Yes, let us know. We can absolutely hook you guys up with that. Ooh, whoops. Is that right, Chris?
What's that? Info@ C3, T as in Tom, 3-TC.
Just shoot Chris a text.
I got you right there. Bam.
There you go.
Sorry about that, guys.
Dude, that's sick. I didn't even know you could do that. That's badass.
I'm unplugged here.
All right, guys. So if you guys got a pen and paper, I want you guys to write this down. Okay, write this down. Stop approaching success as if it is optional. Okay, stop approaching success as if it's optional. Now, I want to start off with that because I think that sets the overall tone for the rest of this episode. But first, I want to discuss how people unknowingly settle. Because I don't think people go into creating goals and things like that, putting down the things that they want to accomplish, the milestones, whether that's quarterly, weekly, yearly, every 3 years, every 5 years. I don't think people are necessarily coherently writing down things and expecting to just settle in them. But I want to talk about why people unknowingly settle. And a lot of it has to do with because it is the filter in which they see the world through, in which they see opportunity through. So remember when you guys first got into real estate? I remember hearing about real estate, and I've shared this story with people before. I've had a childhood friend who reached out to me and was like, Jesse, have you thought about getting into real estate before? And my first thought was he naturally has to be talking about being an agent. And so I said, yeah. As a matter of fact, I thought about getting my realtor's license when I was in Phoenix. And he's like, no. He's like, I'm not talking about being an agent. He's like, I'm talking about being an investor. Now, think about this for a second. When you guys first, whether you were in high school, whether this was last year, maybe it was yesterday, I don't know. But when you first heard about getting into real estate, what was your first impression of that? I know mine was like, dude, I don't have $100,000 burning a hole in my pocket so that I can go buy some real estate with. You got to have money. You got to have resources. You got to have knowledge. You got to have an education. You got to have all these things, man. Chris, can you resonate with that?
No, 100%. 100%. And more so,
And so
one thing I do want to add on, when
Yeah.
I first thought about real estate, I thought you had to become a real estate agent, and that was it.
exactly, bro. I thought the exact same thing, man. I was like, oh, he must be naturally talking about being an agent.
Right.
And so he said, no. And thankfully he was very patient, and he invited me to come on to one of his Zooms that he was having, a Zoom meeting he was having later in the week with some other investors. And so it really opened my eyes up to a lot of different things. But think about that for a second. Think about the first time that you ever heard about getting into real estate, and what was your first thought surrounded that? If it was anything like Chris and mine's experience, or even our upbringing, you know, we were surrounded by, you know, a scarcity mindset, and that obviously involved money. It involved resources. It involved, well, I'm constantly just competing with people, and I don't have the knowledge or the resources to be able to even compete with this person. Yeah. So when you evolve, when you change the perspective and the lens in which you see the world, you start to see opportunity, you start to see competition in so many different ways. And one of those ways being all the competition's at the bottom. Everybody that's competing against each other, they're all at the bottom. Everybody at the top, there's no competition that exists at the top. You know why? Because everybody's collaborating and making freaking money together. So to give you an example, you guys probably, I remember one of the things I heard of, he was like, no, you can get into wholesaling. And with wholesaling, you don't have to have any money. You don't have to go to the bank. You don't have to have any credit. You don't have to do any of this kind of stuff. And you can make money. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is interesting, right? So now my perspective opened up. My perspective changed from all of a sudden making, you know, $100,000 a year. That was the epitome. That was the standard that I grew up with. I was always told, Jesse, if you can go make $100,000 a year, you might as well be King Midas, bro. That's what I thought. As far as I was concerned, whether you're a millionaire making $100,000 a year, you know, if I was making $100,000 a year, I was the equivalent of Donald Trump, man. Like I could do anything. Like that's the caliber of weight that standard held for me, in which I saw possibilities. So when you start talking to somebody who is new, like let's say, for example, when I was new, and I was new at some point. So I'll just use myself as an example. And I start telling my friend, yeah, Derek says, I thought to be in real estate, you were either in construction or an agent. Dude, I thought the same thing, bro. And I was talking to my friend, and he's like, well, what is it that you want to do? What are some of the goals and stuff that you have? And I was like, wow, man, it would be awesome to, maybe wholesale somewhere between 3 to 5 deals over the next, 3 to 5 years. Now, to somebody else, guys, think about this for a second, because we're talking about shifting our paradigm. We're talking about shifting our lens in which we see opportunity, in which we see the world, in which we see our time, in which we see our abilities, our capabilities. Think about this for a second. If you were to tell somebody that you can make an extra $50,000 over the next 5 years, an additional $50,000. So let's say you can make an extra $10,000 this year on average, wholesaling properties. And to do this, you don't have to use any of your own credit. You don't have to use any of your own money. You don't have to use nothing. So from the perspective of somebody who has never done that before, that sounds pretty good, wouldn't you say? That's literally the difference of, hey, I'm making $90,000 this year in my W-2, to all of a sudden, oh, wow, if I can make an extra $10,000, I now hit that pinnacle, right? I'm now King Midas. That's that difference. And so for somebody who has never done it before, that sounds pretty good. Would you guys agree? Man, an extra $10,000 and I don't have to do anything? Sign me up. That sounds really cool. And so when that happens, as a consequence, naturally, that's the filter that I start seeing opportunity through. I'm like, dude, this would be amazing if I could make an extra $10,000 a year. This would be phenomenal. But for some of you guys who have done multiple deals, maybe even a month, maybe a lot of you guys are watching are doing multiple deals a month, let alone just one deal a year or averaging just $10,000 extra a year. If I was to come to you and say, hey, if I came to Chris and I'm brand new and Chris is like, Jesse, dude, welcome to the fam, first of all, and tell me a little bit about what you're trying to do. And I say, Chris, dude, I just found out about this thing called wholesaling. I was scrolling on Instagram, saw these guys, riding Lamborghinis and things, this and that. And I figured out that I could start off by making maybe another $10,000 a year. And I would like to have that proof of concept. If I could do that for the next maybe 3 to 5 years, and then I can start scaling after that, I think that would give me enough time where I could balance my W-2, my wife, my kids, like everything else going on. And at the same time, give me a little bump in pay. I think at the end of 5 years, I could really start to scale and see some momentum from there. At least that's my plan. What do you think Chris is going to say? Chris, what would you say to me if I came to you and I'm really excited, and everybody else that I grew up with, my friends, my family, my neighbors, everybody else was like, dude, Jesse's going to make an extra 10 grand this year by learning this new thing. This is incredible. This is amazing. So this is the standard from their perspective. But Chris, what does this look like from your perspective?
Thinking too small.
I'm thinking too small, but Chris, I'm making an extra 10,000. That's going to bump me up to 6 figures total this year.
Yeah. So how would you like to make 6 figures a month?
Complete paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had an amazing individual that went through my my coaching program, and this isn't just limited to just that. It was just I'm glad that this individual said it, because it's just such a great reminder to all of us, and especially when it comes to setting goals, just in general. The reason that they're not where they want to be, because from my perspective, as somebody who is new, or somebody who knew what my capabilities were, or what I thought I knew my capabilities were, to me, 10 grand an extra year sounds amazing. But then I talked to Chris, and Chris is like, Jesse, what the hell are you doing, bro? 10 grand a year? Are you serious? No.
10 grand a month.
Boom. Complete paradigm shift, right? So that in and of itself would be a filter in which I start to 10x my business. But it's a complete paradigm shift. We have to completely shift and acknowledge what we're capable of, and who we're surrounding ourselves with, and what information we're digesting. So it's interesting, because when people are not where they want to be, it's not because they set these lofty goals and they set them just so high that they're unseemingly unachievable. That's not at all why people aren't where they want to be. It's not that they set this target up here and just shot and just completely missed, and now they have to settle. That's not it at all. The reason that people aren't where they want to be is because they took this target, this goal, and they set it all the way down here, below eye level even. They put that target on the ground. They put this bullseye and they taped this target to the ground. And then they walked up to it and they hit the target right in the bullseye. So 10 grand a year is completely achievable. And to me, that sounded like an amazing goal. To everybody else who's never done it or is unfamiliar with it, that sounds like an achievable goal. And that sounds amazing. But guess what happens when I start setting goals that are like that? I start to see the world a little bit differently than how Chris sees the world. I start to utilize my time differently than Chris would utilize his time. And as everybody here knows, time is our most valuable asset. It's way more valuable than money. As a matter of fact, this whole game of real estate and entrepreneurship and financial freedom coincidentally has nothing to do with money. It's about time. We can buy back our time. That's what it is we're trying to do. And we can help bring other people up in the process. So understanding and having that paradigm shift of, hey, I'm not where I want to be simply because how I choose to see what I'm capable of and what I want my business to look like. I know there's a lot of people that in their head, they're like, well, I want to do my first deal. That's my goal, is I want to do my first deal. If I could have that proof of concept and I can get $5,000 a month going on average, then at that point, I can double it. And then I can do $10,000 a month. And then I can scale and I can bring somebody else in and I can do $20,000 a month. But here's the thing. If Chris and I have the same 24 hours and I'm looking at the filter of opportunity through one lens and Chris is looking at the filter of opportunity through another lens, I'm like, man, I just want to make 10 grand this year. And Chris is like, dude, I'm gonna make $250,000 this month. The way that he starts spending his time and the filter in which he sees opportunity is very different than mine. Yet we both have the same time to do this.
Yeah.
So again, it's not that most people set these lofty goals and then they miss. It's that they undersell themselves. They undervalue themselves. They underdeliver. They undervalue expectations. They undervalue effort. And they set their target way too freaking low and they hit the dang bullseye. It takes the same amount of time, it takes the same amount of effort to shoot low as it does high. Write that down. It takes the same amount of effort, guys, to shoot low as it does high. Because let me give you a very specific example so you really understand what I'm talking about. When I'm shooting low, Facebook user, thank you for first and foremost, I appreciate the transparency. I appreciate you being willing to jump on here and say, hey, you know what? This is actually me. Is there anybody else that resonates with this? Is there anybody else that's like, yes, like, dude, I'm shooting way too freaking low here? Well, we're going to acknowledge that, and we're also going to start giving you guys action steps and ways to start thinking about things to solve this problem. So I appreciate you sharing this. Jordan says, I used to. So if I'm wanting to make $5,000 a month or $10,000 a year or whatever it is, guess what? Every waking second that I have is going to be spent. I'm starting to think about, all right, what market do I want to hit? So maybe I spend X amount of time every single day or every single week just sitting here figuring out, all right, what market do I want to hit? Maybe I take an entire month and I'm just casual with it because my goal is $10,000 this year. So I'm like, dude, I've got plenty of time. I'm going to space this out. And in my head, I'm going to make sure I do this right. And I'm going to take a month and I'm just going to analyze a market. And then I'm going to take another month and I'm going to figure out, all right, well, what list do I even need to hit? Am I doing pre-foreclosures? Am I doing divorce? Am I doing water shutoff lists? Am I doing fire damage? Am I doing probate? And then once you get your list, now you need to figure out how you're going to skip trace it. And then you spend the next couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, getting on Facebook and saying, hey, guys, do you guys prefer batch leads or prop stream? Meanwhile, the filter in which Chris is seeing opportunity, he's spending that exact same amount of time simply taking action. He doesn't even care what market he's hitting. He doesn't care what the motivation is. He just cares that somebody's motivated. He's out there talking to people. And each day, each week, he's figuring out, oh, well, this didn't work the week prior. Now this is where I'm going to make that shift for the next week. Elon Musk actually said it. He had a saying. It said, whether you give yourself 30 days to clean your house, you'll clean it in 30 days. Or if you give yourself 3 days to clean your house, you'll clean it in 30 days. Your goals and everything is the same thing, guys. The way that you guys see and filter the world is the exact same way. So might as well give yourself something to shoot for. You have to take control. That's one of the big things that I see a lot of people missing is they don't have the ability to take control of their time, their relationships. Something as simple as I went to the gym this morning. And as I walked into the locker room, I saw towels that people had used to clean their hands, and then they were just sitting on the counter.
Oh, wow.
Like I look at that and I'm like, nope. I need to take control of that. I need to take control of how the place that I visit looks. So I took those towels, I cleaned up the sink a little bit, and I went and threw those towels that somebody used in the garbage. Like that's the level of control that I need to have. So when you're setting these goals, when you're setting these expectations, when you're spreading yourself far too thin and undervaluing what it is you're trying to do, ask yourself, what kind of control do I actually have over my life? Write that down. Take control of your life. Take control of your business. And when you do that, you'll come to find also that you'll start to see and set expectations differently. I know a lot of people. Here's a good example of what I mean when setting expectations. Guys, everybody's here is familiar with Alex Hormozi. Yeah? Did anybody go to Alex Hormozi's was it thing, his book launch thing that he did? Angel, thank you for sharing that. Angel says, that was one of my biggest takeaways at the end of the coaching program. I realized when I became super focused and intentional about my goals, I hit them way, way faster than anticipated. And I can guarantee you, Angel had way more control over the conversations that she was having. She had way more control over her life, over her time. Literally every little aspect. You need to have more control. And with that control, you also need to make sure that you're setting expectations properly. So Alex Hormozi is a great example. I heard him talking about when he first started his gym, he had a mentor, and his mentor told him he needed to go put some flyers out. And so Alex Hormozi went and put out 300 flyers. And in Alex's mind, he was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've got 300 flyers out everywhere. And he was sitting by the phone, just waiting for the calls to just start blowing up. And 300 flyers later, Alex Hormozi got one phone call. And actually, it was some guy who was yelling at him, if I remember the story right. Don't remember what he was yelling at him about. And so Alex actually hung up the phone, and the guy never called back. So you can imagine his level of frustration because he didn't properly set expectations. And he calls his mentor, and he says, hey, I did exactly what you told me to do. Why didn't this work? And he's like, how many flyers did you set out again? And he's like, I did 300. I think he said he did 300 this month. And he was like, dude, you don't have enough data. You don't have enough anything to do with 300. He's like, we're doing 5,000 a day. He was like, oh, big paradigm shift, right? I've talked to a lot of people. I talked to somebody this week, actually, as a matter of fact. I think it was on Thursday. And we were talking about making calls. And he's like, yeah, dude, I made 10 phone calls today. I was like, that 10 phone calls today? Like, as in like Like right when you woke up, like the first 10 minutes of the day or something, or what? What do you mean? And he's like, no, I made 10 calls today. And I was like, 10 calls a day? You need to be shooting for like 300 calls a day. That's 10xing. 10 calls a day over a month is 300 a month. You need to be doing 300 a day. You need to be 10xing that. Part of getting to that level is appropriating your time, setting proper expectations. And what's really neat, guys, when you start setting proper expectations and you have control over your time and your resources, you'll start to see things differently. Now, to give you an example here, Chris and I feel like this month alone, we will be 10xing our business. The last, how long we've been business partners? 13, 14, 15 months, maybe somewhere in there. Yeah. Since last June. So what is that? 15 months, maybe 16 months. So the majority of our time together, we have been wholesaling businesses. We picked up a couple of properties kind of here and there just as they've kind of fell in our lap, but that wasn't our intent. And so I would say we 10x'd our wholesaling business. And a lot of that was because we 10x'd the amount of people that we were talking to. We set proper expectations. We took control. And we also didn't give excuses. Let me share something with you guys real quick. When we're talking about personal accountability, we're talking about setting expectations. There was an individual Chris and I talked to not too long ago. I actually talked to 2 people this week alone. Who there was an individual that was wanting help, or he was wanting help, but there was an individual that I was talking to that he wanted information about the mastermind, one of the masterminds that was coming up. And I said, great. Now, if anybody has tried to get a hold of Chris and I, usually we can text throughout the week, but more often than not, trying to get us on a phone call, like our days are so time blocked that, especially me, like Chris said, I'm 4 hours behind everybody else. So if you want to get on a phone call with me, I will 100% make the time to get on a phone call with you. But I've got to do it either, you got to be a little bit flexible with me so I can do it in between meetings, or when I wrap up my day, which is, 6, 7 o'clock at night, which for people on the East Coast, that's 10, 11 at night. And so I was finally able to get an individual on the phone. We've been kind of going back and forth for a couple days, and I called him, and because he's been wanting more and more information about the mastermind. He had some really specific things that he wanted to know. And so I got a hold of him, and he was like, hey, dude, I'm just sitting down to dinner with my family. Can we talk later in the week? What? Did I inconvenience you? There's a saying, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. 10x in your business, setting proper expectations, taking control, having the right mindset, it all plays a factor into each other. And I just couldn't ever fathom talking to somebody. I could not imagine like getting a hold of Pace, for example, Chris. I could not imagine bugging Pace and saying, hey, I need your advice on something. I need your advice on something. I need your advice on something. And then when he calls me, then I'm like, hey, actually, Pace, hey, I'm just getting ready to sit down with dinner. Can you call me tomorrow or the next day? It's like, no, that's your one shot. That's your one shot. That tells Pace everything about me if I was to do that to Pace. Yeah. Are we here to make money or are we not? What's the level of excuses that we are giving ourselves?
Yeah. Some of them are high, I can tell you that.
Dude, Chris, perfect example. Chris does not feel good. I know so many people that be like, let's cancel the podcast. Hey, I'm not going to be here today. But Chris is here. He feels like death. He looks fantastic. He's still glowing. But I know he doesn't feel good in the slightest. He acknowledges the importance of consistency, of value, of what it takes, of setting proper expectations. Chris has control over his life, over his time, over his business. Chris, anything else you want to touch on that, bro?
No, I think you hit the nail right in the head, man. It just brings back a lot of conversations we had in the past with a lot of individuals, especially the most recent one where you and I were going to buy individual's property. I'm not going to mention his name, over in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we gave him a call,
Mhm.
and he was in line at lunch ordering.
Yeah, bro.
He had the potential to make a $15,000 assignment. The numbers worked. Jesse and I was going to move forward. He had the potential to make a $15,000 assignment, and he didn't have time for maybe a 3 to 5 minute conversation for Jesse and I to let him know that we wanted to proceed and buy the property. To find out he actually lost that contract. That's the opportunity miss, right? It's just you just never know who's on the other end of that spectrum. And that's just more so one of the recent ones, but I think you hit the nail right on the head, man. No ifs, buts about that.
Dude, there are so many people that you and I talk to that are like, hey guys, I'm putting the kids to bed. Or hey, I'm getting ready to sit down and have dinner. Dude, you know how this is where I eat dinner sometimes. My entire family is out there eating dinner without me. Sometimes I'm missing my kids' basketball games, and I don't gloat by saying that. It doesn't make me feel good that I'm missing my kids' games and things like that. I try to make as often as I can, but I also understand the importance of what it is you and I are trying to do so that I never have to miss a game again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like had I continued giving myself excuses, had I never left the Air Force, had I never dove into this, I would have missed way more than just a couple of my kids' games and the occasional dinner with my family. Being under somebody else's footprint in a W-2 that I did not want to be in, that didn't allow me to thrive, and then I had to ask for permission, just to blow my nose. Dude, you're missing way more.
Yep.
You're sacrificing way more by giving yourself excuses. And like Chris said, there's individuals that are out here that are missing the opportunity to make money because they're like, hey, dude, I'm standing in line at Chick-fil-A, right? Literally, we call this guy, man. But it happens all the time. Like I said, there's a guy who wanted to know about the mastermind. I was like, all right, dude, let's go. Hey, I've got you on the phone. Hey, now's not a good time. Okay, well, do you want to know or not? Do you want to maximize your return on your investment or not? Dude, I was supposed to have there's an individual. I was supposed to be on his podcast tomorrow. I won't mention his name. I'm sure he's a great guy. I've gotten to know him just a little bit. Great guy. Don't have anything against this guy. Love this guy. Was very grateful at the opportunity to be on his podcast tomorrow. And he has been under the weather all week. Okay, so is Chris. He had a birthday, and he texted me yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, is there any way that we can, maybe reschedule it or something like that?" He's like, "Hey, I've got my family coming over, and we're going to celebrate my birthday on Sunday." And I'm like, holy cow. Like, I think one of the things that has allowed you and I, Chris, to 10X our business is because, well, one, we never chase a deal.
Yeah, 100%.
But 100% of the time, we chase the relationship.
Yep. Yeah.
Think about this for a second. Nobody knew who the fuck Chris and I were a year ago. We were nobodies. I mean, not that like we're somebody now. I'm not trying to put us on a pedestal or anything. I'm just look at the amount of traction that somebody can have, even if it's just 12 months, if you're very, very intentional with what it is you're trying to do and you set your sights forth to play the long game.
Yep.
And that's what we've done over the last year. I mean, a year ago, Chris and I started a brand new business together.
Brand new. We started from ground zero. But the amount of things that we've done unknowingly, it's a lot of it has just been mindset, and it's been very, very intentional with the things that we're trying to do, who we're talking to, and at the same time acknowledging what our skills and our roles in our business is. We've all got the same 24 hours, and you got to set your sights on something that is going to be 10x of what it is you're trying to do. There's an individual. When did we talk about this, Chris? There's an individual that we are
working with that their goal was to 10x. They wanted to get one. Did we talk about this last week? When did we talk about this? We talked about it this week, but I don't remember.
Last Tuesday. I think it was last Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday.
Was it Monday?
Monday or Tuesday. I want to say it was Tuesday.
On our wholesaling thing that we do?
Well, it was around that time. No, actually, it was Monday. It was Monday.
Was it?
It was in the group. But yes, it was. He only wanted one property by the end of the year. And now I think you froze on my end, but he wanted one property towards the end of the year. He just wanted one property, and now he has the ability to, let alone just within a week and a half, to own 8 doors. 8 doors with us. Literally within a week and a half. And he only wanted to have the opportunity just for one door by the end of the year. And within literally a small conversation, now he will own 8 doors by the end of the month. No ifs, buts about that with us. It's just getting in the right rooms, relationships, chase a relationship. I think that's the more of the story. You have to cherish the relationships. Don't burn bridges. Communicate with people. Just be transparent. Let them know what's going on. And Jesse, I'm glad you said it, because initially we get a lot of opportunities from commercial to residential sent our way all the time, and we don't chase those. We don't chase them. We really don't chase the deals. What we do chase the relationship. That's 1,000,000% correct. So
I think that's the big thing, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, there will never be a time where I reach out to somebody that I want to have a relationship with, or if they call me because I've been trying to get them on the phone or, whatever, there'll never be a time where I'm like, oh, you know what? This is kind of an inconvenience right now. I'm eating dinner. I'm in the movies right now. I'm standing in line at Chick-fil-A right now. Can you call me back? Like, it's the craziest thing how entitled people are. I want to know from you, or I would like your help, but I need you to call me when it's convenient for me. Crazy. I want to be doing a minimum of 5 deals a month. Dude, I think 10x that. I think you need to be looking at solving problems that are going to allow you to do 50 deals a month. That's where the filter needs to be. I wish I knew who it was. If you don't mind, if just above the video in the description, there's a link and it says, click this to allow StreamYard to access your name or something along those lines. But I wish I knew who this was. But if you want to be doing a minimum of 5 deals a month, then you need to set expectations. You need to set your goals on what is it going to take to do 50 deals a month, because you're going to start seeing opportunity through a completely different lens. You're not going to be asking yourself, what market do I want to buy? What is my market analysis? What should I use? PropStream or batch leads? What CRM should I use? Who should I use to skip trace? How many should I skip trace? You're not going to be asking any of those kinds of things. You're going to be starting having higher level conversations. You're going to start filtering opportunities and the problems that you're solving from a much higher level, from a much higher caliber.
Yeah, I was trying to find who that was, and I can't find who he or she is. No worries, but no. Absolutely, 10x that. 10x that. 5 deals. I guarantee the 5 deals be accountability up to 10 deals a month, and then that's going to be the new norm. And then 10 deals is going to be the standard. 15 deals is going to be standard. There's people in this world right now that's doing 20 deals a month faithfully, and that is the standard. They stress out when they get below 20. If they have 15, what's going on? What is going on within our internal business, and that where we kind of stagger down? Is it a market shift? The things happen over here. Do we have to change markets? Do we need to change our list? But there's people out there that's literally doing 20 deals a month comfortably and faithfully. 5 deals a month. I think that's an amazing goal. However, that shouldn't be the target.
So Chris and I, and I'll give you a real specific example. Chris and I kind of pivoted our business, like I was saying a little bit earlier, maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And we kind of dissolved our wholesaling business. We got rid of our acquisitions and our dispo team. And got rid of our wholesaling business, and we really just wanted to scale and build a massive portfolio. So that's kind of been our main focus. And it was interesting because starting, I guess you could almost kind of see it. Would you consider that starting over, Chris, or no?
Yes, I would say. Well, yeah, I would.
Okay. So we went from basically, I guess, basically creating a brand new business plan, kind of changing our entire strategy again, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. And like I said, we picked up a couple properties. They just happened to fall in our lap. And we're like, all right, yeah, let's just buy them. But
right.
We intentionally dissolved everything and are back to we're back to ground zero about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And we set a goal, knowing how to properly set goals and where to direct our attention. Most people would be, hey, I want to acquire 3 or 4 or 5 doors by the end of the year. Chris and I were like, well, what can we do to acquire from going ground zero to buying 50 doors by the end of the year? And it was interesting because when we set that goal, one, we have absolute control of our time, of our business, of our relationships. We are very, very intentional with those things. There isn't ever a day where we are waking up as if it was on accident. There isn't ever a time when we're leaving things to just chance, to see what just happened. Hey, if we go do this should work. If blah 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 blah. And a motto, I guess you could call this a motto, but one thing that Chris and I have learned that has also helped us gain this much momentum in a short amount of time is when you put service first, money takes care of itself. And like I was giving that advice to Sean, I think it was Sean. Yeah, earlier when we first jumped on, he was going to his first sub 2 meetup. I was like, dude, hey, let's get intentional here. Because it's not enough to just go talk to 100 people. Go find 5 people. Go find 10 people that are specific to what it is you're trying to do and go serve them. The more people you can serve, the money will take care of itself. So ask yourself, how many people am I serving a day? I was having a conversation with an individual this morning. I said, hey, man, how's real estate going? Where can I help you? And he's like, well, I've been sending out a couple LOIs. I said, okay, what is it you want to do? You need to, and we did not just send out a couple LOIs this week. You need to be doing 5 a day. Let's 10X this thing. So that'll give you, what is that? 35 LOIs a week. So that's 120 plus a month. Terrible at math, by the way, if you can't tell. So over 120 LOIs a month. So let's 10X this thing. But now when you're looking at it through that lens, right? We're not looking to just do a couple of LOIs a week. But when we can do 5 a day, when we can 10X what we're doing, you're going to start to see opportunity through a different lens. You're going to start to see how can I solve this problem through a different lens. Now, this individual has a wife. He has kids. He has a W-2. He's behind a lot of other, time zones. And I think he's Pacific time. So he's got a time handicap as well. But when your goal is no longer, I need to make sure that I'm submitting 3 a week, and your goal is submitting 5 a day, you start to see opportunity through a different lens, right? You start to see obstacles through a different lens. You start to see how to solve these problems through a different lens. So when you start kind of reverse engineering that day, and think about it like this: when you're going to an event, or when you're taking your family to dinner, you guys are like, all right, we've got to be here at 6. We got to be at the restaurant at 6 p.m. It takes us 30 minutes to get there. So we need to make sure that we leave maybe around 5:20, so we have a little bit of room to spare. And then we need to make sure that everybody's ready and in the car by 5:20. It's going to take everybody 45 minutes to shower and get ready. So you're going to have to reverse engineer 45 minutes past that. So what is that, 4:35? So come 4:35, you know that you got to have everybody in the house, and maybe the kids are playing outside. So go another 10 minutes, behind that. So at 5:25, you know you got to go gather all the kids from around the neighborhood, make sure they all come in. So by 4:35, you got everybody showered, you got everybody getting ready. You can leave for the restaurant by 5:20. You got 30 minutes to get there. It'll put you 10 minutes before 6, and that gives you a little bit of a buffer room if you got traffic or construction or whatever. So it's interesting because most people already, they understand the logic in this. Most people are already implementing this in their daily lives, but they're not taking the time to implement this in their actual business. So if you want to go from doing 2 or 3 LOIs a week to doing 5 a day, it's the same thing, guys. We got to reverse engineer those steps and what it is you're trying to do to not go from 5 deals a month. But we start looking at it through the lens of, all right, how do I reverse engineer this? So I build a business that's doing 50 deals a month. And when you start looking at it through this lens, even if you never hit 50 deals a month, what if you could go from where you set your goals of hitting 5 a month, and in that same time frame, you're doing 15 or 20 deals a month because you started looking at opportunity differently. You started leveraging time differently. You started taking control differently. You started thinking a little bit differently. Started holding your accountability level a little bit differently. The people that you were networking with at these events or on Zooms, the conversations you're having are different now. So all of this comes with making sure that we are in alignment with understanding our capabilities and setting proper expectations on really what it's going to take to get from here to here. Uh-oh. I'm good, baby. I'm good, sweetie. Thank you, though. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Kids made me breakfast. Thank you, babe. I'm gonna have a carb load this morning.
Amazing.
Anyway, man, I see we're like way over our time here. But Chris, is there anything else that you want to add, man? Maybe I think this is going to be a 2-part series.
I think more so, I think you hit the nail right in the head, man. It's more so eliminate the excuses. You control your life. Don't let no one control you. Don't listen to no one who has even tried or experienced what you're trying to experience. There's a lot of people that will tell you you can't do this because it doesn't make sense, or they just don't see it in you. There's family members that don't think I can do what I'm doing. Hell, they don't even know what I'm doing right now. When they transfer, they think I'm a real estate agent, to be honest. But at the same time, I'm not the type of person to go back and forth. I'm more so type of individual. I just want everyone around me to be successful, succeed, and whatever that looks like for them. But long story short, build relationships, increase your network, and that only happens by being intentional. That only happens by that. If you set your goals, reverse engineer, and see exactly who you need in your business and how that needs to be implemented to get to your goals. That's the only way it's going to happen. By you just keeping it in your head, it's not going to happen. Your vision may look great, but if you don't put it pen to paper, it's not going to be executed properly.
I love that you said that, dude. Execute it properly. You have to take action in order to solve these problems. It's not enough to just say, how do I do 50 deals a month? You actually have to start taking action, and you're going to start figuring out a way to do 50 deals a month. And you got to understand, again, setting proper expectations. So setting 5 LOIs a day, for example, instead of 2 or 3, you start reverse engineering that just like you would anything else in your life. You got to get the kids. You got to go to we got to meet everybody for dinner. So we got to leave at this time. We got to get everybody ready at this time. We got to get the kids in here by this time. We got to It's stuff you already do in your life, guys. Apply that same principle to your freaking business. If you're trying to do 5 a day, then you have to start reverse engineering. Okay, what time do I wake up in the morning? Do I have enough time when I wait? Sorry, somebody was calling me. What time do I wake up in the morning? And then you need to start reverse engineering that. How much time can I designate for doing agent outreach? And then if you come to find out that, hey, I've got dance recitals, my kids have things going on, I can't, I don't have the time to go into somewhere like Privy or Batch or call all these agents, have X amount of conversations Because maybe as an example, I don't do agent outreach, but just to give you an example, maybe you have to reach out to 50 agents because most of them either don't answer or they're terrible with getting back with you. So maybe you have to make 50 calls to agents so you can get 10 of them on the phone. And of those 10, you are able to submit 5 LOIs. Just as an example, this is how KPIs work. So if you have to do that, if you have to repeat that process every day, that's obviously a lot more than what's being done if you're only submitting 2 or 3 LOIs a week.
Yep.
So if you have to reach out to 50 agents a day just to talk to 10, just to submit 5 LOIs, then you start to solve problems at a different level, right? Then you're like, okay, I've only got 4 hours a day that I can work on this between sleep, other obligations, my family, my work, blah, 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 blah. That's why your avatars are so important. It's like, I've only got 4 hours a day. I'm no longer hopping in Zooms that don't serve me. I'm no longer getting on phone calls with people that isn't in alignment with what it is I'm trying to do. If you only got 4 hours a day and you're going to a meetup, then you need to be very intentional with who you're connecting with and making sure that you can leverage those relationships and that those relationships are reciprocal, that they can leverage you. And together, both of you are coming in and you are maximizing, you're literally 10xing what it is, the performance, the output that you're putting in every 4 hours. So as an example, if you only got 4 hours, then it's going to take more than 4 hours to call 50 agents, get 10 of them on the phone, have a conversation, and submit 5 LOIs each and every freaking day. That's why avatars, again, are so important. You acknowledging what your avatar is. Maybe you're really good at just doing the paperwork. Maybe you're really good at filling out LOIs, but you don't have the time, the patience, or anything like that to make the calls, to have those conversations so you can find the 5 that you need to submit an LOI on. That's where you go find somebody who you can leverage. That's where you go find somebody who is DTA, as an example. And you say, hey, here's what I can do. If you can call 50 agents and you can get to a point to where you're talking to 10 of them and you can email me 5 properties every single day, what I'm going to do with my 4 hours is I'm going to analyze that data. I'm going to underwrite them. And I'm going to fill out the LOIs. And I'm going to submit them. That's how I'm going to spend my 4 hours. And so now, looking at opportunity and solving problems through that lens that is 10x, you're still utilizing 4 hours, right? But your output, your return on your investment for what it is your business is doing and how you're scaling is literally now 10x. Because you're no longer doing everything. So it's these little things like this that you have to, it's the little things that make all the freaking difference. Simply just thinking differently. Looking at something with a different lens is all that it takes to help you reach that level. If I'm trying to make $10,000 a year and Chris is trying to make $100,000 a month, and we both have 4 hours, simply Chris just setting his goals higher than mine, he's going to start leveraging that time differently. He's going to start seeing opportunity differently. He's going to start solving problems differently than what I would. So maybe that's a good place to stop right there.
Phenomenal place. Yeah, absolutely. And more so, guys, we appreciate you. We appreciate everyone that's here. We want to see the best for you. And again, guys, feel free to reach out. We're here to help you. We just want to see you be successful. And I keep saying that. I know I'm sounding pretty under the weather right now. I can't even speak, but it's just more so we're here to be a resource, whether that's paperwork, whether that's just, the who looking for you, who, not how, or, it just, we're here. We're here for you. Derek Angel is in the comments. They're great resources as well. Facebook user, I wish I knew who this was. I don't know who this is, but Facebook user said 2 hours DTA, 3 hours DTA outreach. Look at that. He got it packed down right there, but I really don't know who this is, Jesse. Wish I knew.
Let us know if we can help you.
Yeah. But we appreciate everyone coming on here. I'm about to go get a little bit more drugs in me so I can try to knock whatever's in me out. Hopefully it's not too bad. But guys, we appreciate you. Thanks again. We'll be back next week, Saturday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, guys, that's Eastern Standard Time. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to the House of Cards podcast with Chris James and Jesse Stanton. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and have learned something new about real estate investing. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more tips and tricks. And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Until next time.